Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
All right, we are continuing our recap of our virtual town hall meeting on the coronavirus that we did last week. So we've already heard from the mayor and we've also heard from the city. Next, we're going to hear from the Chamber of Commerce and see how business is doing through this time. Take a look.
The Abilene Chamber of Commerce has been in service to this community, particularly the businesses that we represent, as a nonprofit private business association since 1908. So we have a little bit of history. We've led the business community through tragedy, through wars, through weather events, certainly through 9/11. So we have a little bit of experience there. We know that communication is key. We have spent a tremendous amount of time with our professional staff understanding the situation, because in order to respond to it appropriately, we feel very strongly that we have to know what we're talking about. I want to just take a second to recognize our city's leadership. Robert Hanna, our city manager, has been on call to me anytime we've needed it, and when the business community has reached out asking for clarity, asking for information on how certain things affect them, what the expectation of business is and the expectation of employers. He has been extremely responsive. I have peers across the country, and we're a part of the same sorts of networks as the city manager and others. They don't have that luxury of being able to communicate directly with city leaders in positions of authority. The same goes with our mayor. Mayor Williams has done a great job. He has listened to our concerns represented by the business community, and he is helping to respond to those. So everybody involved. I want to just assure that the folks in our community that this community is in fact all pulling on the same end of the rope, and we have the best interest of every citizen, every taxpayer, every business in mind as these tough decisions are made.
People are asking about small business loans. They don't want to get further in debt, so why take out a small business loan if you are the owner of a small business?
Well, that's an excellent question, and one that we've worked to address. I was on the phone this morning with my peers and Congressman Arrington. We have talked with our good friend Calvin Davis with the U.S. Small Business Administration. We don't encourage anyone to take a nickel of debt that they don't absolutely have to have. But what I can tell you is that by working with our local lending institutions, the federal government has loosened lending regulations. You're able to borrow money if you have to. That has deferred payments, 3 months, which hopefully gets us out of this. Cash is rolling again. You're able to take that on. Interest only, very flexible terms. The U.S. Small Business Administration, as you'll find by visiting, and I want to share this web address, my team at the Chamber is second to none. They have been a step ahead on collecting and posting resources since before this began. But if you go to businessresourceabilene.com, businessresourceabilene.com, everything that you need to know about what is available to the small business constituency, even to larger employers who have a great deal of a great number of employees. What are the expectations of those folks? Do factories have to shut down? How do they protect their workforce when you have 300 or 400 or 600 people in one place? All of that information is collected right there, and it's coming from sources, again, like Calvin Davis with the U.S. Small Business Administration, who we work with very closely, our local lending leaders, and there are resources out there. Even if you in a line of credit and you need to extend terms, talk to your banker, because they're going to be your front line in getting through this with as little collateral damage economically to your small business as possible.
The Abilene Commissioner of Visitors Bureau has released numbers about the losses the hospitality industry is facing with so many event cancellations, with 56 groups canceling. They calculate to $5.3 million loss. What do you say to these groups to encourage them to postpone rather than to completely just get rid of their event?
That's exactly, Victor, what I say to them. If you have an event in Abilene, Texas that you have to approach differently because of this situation, don't cancel, postpone. Those dollars, many local residents don't really realize how many of us walking around this community are here for a day or two or a weekend, and that accounts for an awful lot of economic impact right here, and we all benefit from it. We may not see it, we may not feel it, but when you lose that many hotel bookings from these events that are coming to our community that we don't know about, a $5.3 million economic impact just immediately from this crisis will be felt. It's felt in the hospitality industry, hotels, restaurants, all of those kinds of things. We're seeing it. I was out at the airport today. There were maybe 20 cars in the parking lot. 20 cars at our airport. We all need to do our part to try to bolster that vacuum effect that's been created by folks being forced to not be here. So when you can take curbside delivery and all those recommended ways to continue to support our business community, think about that. Tip your server well, the person that brings you your food. But let's not forget that there are a number of people here in this community that support our tourism industry that we just can't forget about through this crisis.
And Mr. Peters, we're going to give you guys about 30 seconds for your out. We'll start with you. 30 seconds to let people know maybe something we didn't talk about.
Well, the Abilene Chamber of Commerce is a private business association. We've been here for over a century. We're very proud of the work we do, and we are even more proud of the members that we represent. We are proud of our partnership with the City of Abilene and all of those organizations that help us advance the interest of business right here at home. So while this is a unique situation for those of us who are in it at the moment, this is not a new situation for Abilene, Texas. We've been through crisis before. We have emerged strong, and I have, without any reservation in my mind, a very strong belief that we will come out of this better than we've ever been. It's going to be painful, but we will get there, and we'll get there together.